America, America, my right, my vote, right? My right, my vote. My vote is my right. I can vote however I want to vote. Let's get real, America. I got up early this morning. I got up real early this morning. It's time to get real. We talked about this yesterday. It's not a big setup. I got my red shirt on. There's no question that I'm an American. I'm a patriot. There's no question that it's time to get real. It is the day to go vote. It's the day to get real, America. There's no more time to think about who you're going to vote for. More importantly, there's no more time to make a decision. You have to make a decision today. If you don't want to vote, you don't have to vote. If you're not sure that the country's not going the way that you want it to go, then I guess you're kind of on the fence. And I don't know what to tell you. I think it's time to tell you that you need to get real. It's time to get real. From a motivational perspective and a show and what I want to talk to you about today, we're on a path for Get Real. Real stands for relationships. E stands for equipping. A stands for attitude, and L stands for leadership. Yesterday, we talked about relationships, and I confessed that I had some of my own relationship challenges in my own family, in my own house. And so we got real about the fact that relationships are really, really important in our life. To be a successful leader, to be a successful person, to be a successful parent, to be a successful CEO, to be a successful in anything entrepreneurial mindset, you need relationships. So today I want to double down on relationships. I want you to understand that I'm Todd Saylor and I'm on pursuit to be America's coach. And I'm talking to you every morning, Monday through Friday, and we're going to keep banging the drum and we're going to get real this entire week. I think everybody needs a coach. I think I would not be who I am if I didn't have a coach. I've been coached my whole life. I've been coached by my father. I've been coached from my teachers. I've been coached by my coaches in athletics. I've been coached in speaking by Delator. I've been coached in entrepreneurial by my good friend Bob Lang. I have been coached my entire life, and I never really gave the credit to being coached to those who were coaching me because I was kind of thinking about I did it on my own, but I really didn't. I had coaching. And it wasn't until later in life that I really listened to coaches. And so I want to give you advice here. I want you to take this number one advice I want to get to you right now. ToddSaylor.com. Go to ToddSaylor.com, click coaching, click inquire, and let's just talk on the phone and figure out where you want to go in your entrepreneur or business life. No cost, no money, nothing like that. But I want you to understand, get a coach. Get somebody behind you, someone to lift you up, someone to encourage you, someone to bring the best out of you, right? That's what this is all about, wired differently. And that's what America is all about, my friends. Think about it. America, the greatest. I mean, we say it so kind of cavalier, right? We say like the greatest country that the world has ever known. But I mean, if you really look at it, there's no other country in the world that's wired like us. We're so wired differently as a country. And it makes the people wired differently. I got to tell you, I got up early this morning, went over the ballot boxes, and I waited in line, and I saw all kinds of people in line. And it really was a blessing to be a part of that, to see, I saw handicapped people in line. I saw people in wheelchairs on breathing apparatuses in line. I saw lines of people, old, young, middle-aged. I really saw America at a breath, right? I could see a breath of America. The line was probably at 7:00, was probably 40 yards long. And it was just a beautiful breath of America, exercising their right to vote. Their right, their vote, right? And I think it's important that you do that. So get out there and vote. But I want you to get real this morning. I want you to get real in a couple areas. I want to double down on the message we're doing this week. I want to talk to you about the E, which is equipping. and I want to double down on this whole concept. I want you to get real about where this country is. I know that I'm leaning right. I know that some of us are burdened by that, but I called up some of my Democratic friends. I have lots of Democratic friends. I have lots of liberal friends. I really do. And I try to move forward in my walk in the best taste possible. I do lean a little left socially, but I'm in my right mind economically. So I want you to understand that you really need to be looking at the policies. America, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, a liberal, a conservative, an independent, or a libertarian, I don't know what you call yourself. I think you just call yourself an American. But I want you to think about the policies. I don't want you to think about what my dad was and my mom was, and I always have to vote D, I always have to vote R. I want you to get real about the situation of America. I mean, I literally watch both sides of the TV. I watch both sides of the politics. And I got to tell you, there used to be some compelling arguments from the liberal point of view. I really felt myself feeling honestly, I think the Liberal Party has made me a better person in some regards. I mean, I know I'm going to get some mail on this, but I do look at the LGBTQ community. I do look at the minority situation. I do look at all those things, and I do have a different breath in that regards. But I also realize that the country has to move towards the majority of the people's needs, not the minority of the people's needs. We can't always do everything and make this place that we live in called America great and continue to have it thrive for the most of the people. We need to understand that there are things going on out there that this current administration is driving down our throat that is just not necessary, makes no sense. And I want you just to look at these policies. I want you to get real with me right now. I want you to just put on your best common sense head. I got a great compliment this morning. One of my Democratic friends called me. He says, well, at least you have common sense. At least you're sensible. I love this guy. He's a great guy. He's a D and I'm an R, and we get along great time. We have cigars and we have a coffee at Building 1 every now and then. And he's just a great guy. I have several D friends. And he gave me a compliment. He says, at least you're a reasonable Republican. I want you to get real, America. I want you just to look at these things right now. I want you to think about these 6 topics before you go and vote. Go and vote. But I want you to look at the border, right? Let's just get real about the border. I've talked with some of my D friends, and they're just not logical about the border. The only argument they had with me was, this has been going on forever. No, it hasn't. Not to the magnitude that we're dealing with right now. And I don't think the border is just about people coming across the border to get free. I think the border is a situation of an invasion mindset, right? And I don't have a problem with the majority of the people coming across the border. I just want to know who they are, and I want to get them into the system, and I want them paying taxes, and we need them working. Anybody who wants to come over here and work, let's do that. But the amount of drugs has increased. And my goodness, the human trafficking, if you have any compassion for people at all, the human trafficking is incorrigible. It's insane. It's real. I've seen it. I've talked to people. This is a bad situation. This is chaos on the border. We do not control our border. What logical voting human being could ever look at the border situation honestly and say, this is the best thing for America? If you can look at the border and say, this is the best we can do, and this is the best thing for America, I think you're cray-cray. I mean, that's not common sense. That's not logical. We have to do that different. So I'm going to propose to you right now, what I would do on the border is I would put a fence up. I would put a border up. I would put drones up. I would put some type of perimeter securing device. And I would have other places for people to enter in an organized fashion. And I would let more immigrants in on a regular basis than we ever have before in this country, but under an organized passage. I'm not just throwing things out here. I'm giving you solutions. I mean, it's just not this. We can't have this disorder. And someone would say to me, well, the border, well, how are you going to stop all of it? You can't stop. Well, we can stop some of it. And we can stop sending the message to the world that it's an open border. Common sense. Let's get real, America. Crime. Let's talk about crime. Let's get real, America. Crime. Why would we allow crime to continue the way it is? Why are we endorsing crime? This administration right now is allowing crime to be proficient. I mean, crime is in order. They've taken the police. They've taken the position of we don't need police. They're still trying to defund the police. They're trying to play down that crime isn't that bad when in fact we know crime is up. Now, in some pockets, murder's down. I get that. That's good, but more crime is up, and murder's obviously cyclical with the abundance of crime. And let's just get real, America. How could more police be worse for this country? How could fewer police be better for this country? I just have a hard time understanding why you wouldn't want people who are arrested to post bail or be forced to be put in jail. Why are we letting people out? What kind of movement is that? I mean, let's get real, America. That makes no sense. Listen, I even catch myself thinking, okay, maybe we should not have borders. Let me think about that. No. All right, so let me think about no bail, and if someone's guilty of beating somebody or throwing them on a subway train or something of that nature, and we let them back out. I mean, maybe they couldn't afford. Maybe bail is. I had explained to me that bail is a racist law because only the people with money can get out of jail. So the only criminals that are successful are those that can afford to bail themselves out. Because if you're a poor criminal, you can't afford to bail yourself out. Let's get real, America. That argument makes no damn sense whatsoever. None of your business. No, makes sense. Nothing makes sense about leaving your borders wide open. Nothing makes sense about no bail crime. Nothing makes sense about defunding the police. What it's just, let's get real, America. There is no logic. Let's take another one. Our children in schools. Let's just take another one. Let's get real, America. Our children in schools. Do we want woke America raising our children, putting curriculum in there that we have no say over? One of the most devastating things I've ever seen in my life was a school board where a father went to the school board and he wanted to argue the fact that his daughter was raped because some man who said he was a woman went into the bathroom and raped his daughter. And when he went to the school board to protest the fact that the rules were wrong, we need to realign this, we need to look at this for what it is, they arrested him for defending his daughter who was raped in a school. Now I say, oh, Todd, that's one incident. Well, it's not just one incident. It's a marker of where we're going with this administration and how things are working. I just don't understand why anybody would want to put their children into a situation where they're not having the control of how their children are being taught. Listen, it just makes no sense. Let's get real, America. Our lifestyle is at risk in some regards. We still have got great lifestyles. I'm not complaining about mine. But when you look at the vast majority of what this administration is trying to do with our lifestyles and crimp our lifestyles, put us in a situation where we can't say the things that we want to say. We want to be coddled in what's called disinformation on a continuous basis when we don't agree with what they say. It's always disinformation. It's disinformation if we don't agree with what they say. Look at the uproar now that Twitter and Elon Musk have joined teams and said, oh, we want to have free speech. We want everybody to say what they want to say and now they're upset over that because it's misinformation. How can free speech be misinformation? Why is it that they can only tell us what is not misinformation. That's misinformation right there. If you've got one party saying that what they don't want to hear is misinformation, that's misinformation. That is the craziest damn thing I've ever heard in my life. I just got to ask you, America, let's get real. I know it's not Thursday, but I'm popping off Thursday. Let's talk about energy. Let's go on down the list here. Energy, 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 energy. Why don't we just close up all our oil refineries and stop doing any coal and not frack, and let's just suck the life out of this country all in 1 week, Joe Biden? Now, that's a damn good idea. Why don't we just piss off every oil factory, every oil driller, every miner, every fossil fuel company in the planet? Let's just piss them all off and raise our rates for fuel in this country, because you had an idea to stop drilling. You had an idea to stop coal mining. You had an idea to stop fossil fuels in their tracks. Let's not have a pipeline. Let's just shut the whole damn country down. And what the hell are we going to do for energy? There you go, Joe Biden and your group of people. Why would you do that? Let's get real, America. That makes no sense. Listen, if I'm Joe Biden, I'm not coming in here and just pissing off everybody that's making oil. There's the people that are running the oil rates up. Listen, do you think for a minute that the oil companies are going to stand by and let him shut their companies down? And if they are going to be shut down, you know they're going to raise their rates. But here's the thing. The gas prices are votes for Republicans. Every time that gas price goes up by a penny, 2 pennies, 5 cents, 10 cents, it's another vote for the Republican Party. Why can't you figure that out, Joe Biden? Why can't you figure that out in your administration, that every time you raise the price of fuel by your avoidance of drilling, by your avoidance of pipelines, by your avoidance of fracking, by your avoidance of coal mining. But, it's okay, Joe Biden. Here's what blows my mind. You can't drill here in America, but you can go buy refined oil in India. The number 3 exporter of oil in the world is India, but they're like number 22 in mining. Where is India getting all their gas and oil, Joe Biden? I did look this up. It's all coming from Russia. So Russia's sending all their oil into India. India is refining that oil, right? And then India is reselling Russia's refined oil as an export to America. Now, don't you find that a bit hypocritical, America? Don't you find it hypocritical that we're standing tall and not buying Russians' oil, and we're standing against them in solidarity against Ukraine, but yet we can throw stones at Europe and tell them not to buy gas from Russia, but yet we have this little hack, this oil hack that allows us to go over to India and say, hey, go buy your oil from Russia, bring it over to India, and then you can refine it. And it's a new product, and you can export it to America, and then we can have the oil here, and somehow I can drive this energy prices down here a little bit. But it's not working, is it, Joe Biden? Because American oil refineries are pushing back, and they're forcing the price up because they don't want people to vote for you. It's just common sense. Let's get real, America. I mean, this is just ludicrous. I've been doing business my entire life. I've only had one W-2 job. I've made a living on making good decisions in business. And Joe, this is the worst business decision I've ever heard in my life. Why not take oil and fossil fuels and do it at a slow drip down? Well, you can build America on its electric energy. You can actually think about nuclear energy again. You can actually keep everybody breathing and eating and do this. I mean, Lord knows that we have enough oil to last us over 400 years. And why is it that India can refine the oil and damage the ozone layer and do all the damage that anybody could do? They have no EPA codes over there. Russia has no EPA codes. China has no EPA codes. The entire world just does what they want, but it's okay for you to buy their refined oil at a bigger price to our environment and at a bigger price to our pocketbooks, just so you can say you're not drilling. Well, listen, I'm afraid that that's going to backfire on America. And I'm seeing it happen right now. So let's get real, Joe Biden. Let's get real, America. All you D's out there, let's get real. Let's just look at the common sense of what's going on here. It's not sustainable. Energy and the way we're doing it's not sustainable. I see all these electric cars coming, and I'm all for electric cars. I think that they make a lot of sense for the environment and all that, and I'm not against the environment. I just don't happen to think it's disintegrating the way they're trying to make it disintegrate. I'm looking at the ocean right now, and what we thought was going to rise up over our heads and become the end of the world here in Florida, they just lowered the flood zone, right? They just lowered the level of the floodplain. I can't explain it. God's in charge of all that. I just can't worry about certain things, but I got to tell you that you can do quantitative economic easing, but no, you want to shove electric cars right up our tail all at once, put our oil people out of business, so you look like you're the environment god. I don't get it. Let's get real, America. We know that's not sustainable. It has to be something that we all do together. We have to slowly move some of our stuff to electronic cars, and we have to slowly move some of our stuff to probably back to nuclear energy. We slowly got to work on solar energy. We got to slowly figure out what we're going to do with all these damn wind turbines. I'm not a big wind turbine guy. They're ugly and they don't last, and they break, and it's a god-awful mess. We need a better energy plan. Let's get real, America. And lastly, I want to talk to you about the cost of living. Now, listen, America. The cost of living has went up almost 9%. I have given everybody in my company an 8.5% cost of living increase, which was an incremental growth like I've never seen before. I had committed to the cost of living. We do the math on it. We do the math on gas. We do the math on our food. We do the math on insurance. My goodness, insurance. This is a damn free-for-all. It feels like I went into Home Depot just the other day, and I wanted to just buy some blinds for one of my rental houses. And I got to tell you, I felt like I was in an MMA fight. It was crazy. I mean, I couldn't find anybody to help me. People were grabbing things off the shelf. Workers were nowhere to be found. And the ones that you could find couldn't help you because they were too busy doing something else, like looking at their iPhones or whatever it was. And I got to tell you, America, the people that were helping me on the things I needed were the contractors that were in there to buy stuff. It was a damn free-for-all. I don't know what's going on, America, but I got to tell you, the cost of living is cray-cray. You can't buy stuff. You can't get help to buy stuff. You can't control the cost of what it's going to be. I have no idea. I heard someone say the cost of eggs is more than quadruple. The cost of milk is quadruple. And I'm literally one of these people that I don't buy groceries. Listen, for the last 30 years, I've never looked at a grocery price. I'll be honest with you. I've never even really looked at a gas price until here of late. But, it's kind of one of those things where you just have to take what's coming, right? And you have to take your budget, and you have to squeeze it in one place. You have to put it in another place. So let's get real, America. The cost of living it's idiotic. It's not logical. It makes no sense. Let's get real, America. And we're going to go right back to energy on the cost of living, because here's the problem. All we have to do is re-implement some sort of energy policy in this country, and our world will start to come back together in a meaningful way from a cost of living perspective. You can't choke an entire damn near continent from oil overnight. And so I like to look at things. Let's get real. I like to look at things as a common denominator. What is one thing we could do as a country that could start the pendulum to start swinging towards prosperity again? I mean, I'm talking about your stock market. I'm talking about your food costs. I'm talking about your fuel costs. I'm talking about you feeling good about your 401k. I'm thinking about, and if I had a penny for everybody who told me I'm going to have to not be able to retire. Listen, it boils down to one thing. You have to vote for a political party that doesn't want to choke you, right? They don't want to choke you for their religious belief of environmental salvation. Listen, this entire process, and I'm not trying to be shallow here. I'm just trying to tell you, I love nature. I love the wilderness. I love the glaciers. I love the ocean. I mean, I have huge respects for hurricanes, right? I mean, I get it. But I don't love the environment more than I love my God, right? I have principles that I follow that are biblically oriented. This is the rudder, right? When you're worshiping the environment, you have no rudder. You're just doing and saying things that you feel are for the greater good for the environment that doesn't make sense for the people and the world, right? And so we don't need to throw out environmental common sense, but we also need to understand the people have to live. We don't have to worship everything that the environment has over the sanctity of life. I mean, I know people that would rather see people die than to see a tree die, right? And I just have a hard time understanding. I'll go plant more trees, but I don't think we need to be performing abortion in the third trimester. Let's get real, America. We have to find common grounds here. But there is a fringe on this liberal side that is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. I have trans friends. I have gay friends. I mean, I get it. And they don't think the way that I'm seeing on TV. We should appreciate those people. We should we should accept those people for who they are and what they are and how they want to live their lives, just like we accept anybody that has some type of different way of thinking that we are. But we don't have to form our entire nation around everything in that regards when the majority of the world is looking in one direction differently. Can't we just love these people? Can't we just love people like me that are wired differently? Come on, America. Let's get real. There's no common sense that I can find. Common sense. Now, I watch the politicians spin stuff every which way. But at risk of running on this morning, I'm just want you to get real. And so the topic of this morning is getting real and using the letter E, and which is equipping. And I need you to start thinking about who you're equipping. How are you equipping them? And I want you to understand, we need to equip them in common sense. Let's get real about the border. Let's get real about crime. Let's get real about teaching our children, right? Let's get real about our lifestyles. Let's get real about this energy policy. Come on, it's just stupid. It's ridiculous. It's insane. It's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. It makes no damn sense. If you want me to go on about energy, it's just crazy. Vote for me. I'm going to start drilling. I'm going to bring nuclear back. I'm going to get rid of these wind chimes and windmills. And I'm going to figure out how to do solar. And I'm going to have electric cars and I'm going to have gas. I like the hybrids. And I'm going to let as many people across the border as they can get here that are legal. And we're going to have payroll taxes go up because we got people working. We're going to fuel the economy that way. We're going to open up pipelines and we're going to be energy independent. Vote for me if you can't vote for anybody, or vote for my policies. I'd be a damn good president. I'd be the wired differently president. America's wired differently. The only country in the planet that votes this way, thinks this way, does it. Even in this idiocy that we're talking about right now, it's still it's the way we were created. It's the way that we're supposed to. I'm supposed to be here acting like this right now. Literally, do you know back in the 1800s they were like dueling? They were like, okay, let's go out in the street and let's duel. They were like shooting each other right over policies. We're just like screaming on the Facebook and Instagram and the LinkedIn and the Twitter ditter. You know, I think we've made some progress. We've made some progress. Let's get real, America. I've given you a half hour this morning and probably more than you needed, but in all seriousness, let's get real. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and we've got to bring some common practical sense into this process. And I think it's my right, it's my vote, it's my broadcast this morning. I want you to get real, America. And I want you to think about who you're equipping in your spiritual life, who you're equipping in your professional life, and who and how you're equipping in your personal life, right? And some of us are saying, man, I'm just not ready to do that. Well, I want you to figure out how you're equipping yourself. Listen, you can only inspire yourself. You can get a coach, and a coach can tell you what to do, how to do it, give you things to think about, and bring the best out of you. But listen, if you don't take the choice that maybe a coach or an influencer may give you, then it isn't going to work. Only you can inspire you. Only you can make you better. Only you can prosper yourself. Only you can equip you. And more importantly, if you're going to equip yourself, who else can you equip once you get these cocktails figured out in your success story, right? You're a very, very important person to me. You're a very, very important person to your people and your family. You're a very, very important person to the whole makeup of the fabric of this country. I'm just going to go right back to the importance of you, because I saw 50, 60, maybe 100 people voting today in line. And every one of those votes counted exactly the same as Jeff Bezos. Every one of those people that I saw in wheelchairs on oxygen tanks, their vote counted as much as Elon Musk. I saw a man that might have been almost 90 years old. I don't know how to tell how old somebody is anymore, but he had a list. He literally had a list of names, and you could see his notes, and he had studied so diligently on who he was going to vote for and how he was going to handle the judges and how he was going to handle the amendments. And here's a man that arguably could leave us today when he goes home. I mean, he had no reason for his own self really to be so passionate about his voting process, because his life had run a normal long course. But he was more prepared than probably some of the 20-year-olds that were walking in there, that have a life that they need to live to get real in America with, right? I saw the best part of America today. People going to vote. People exercising their vote, right? Their right, their vote. Their right, their choice. So I need you to get real, America. Get out there and vote. And if it isn't clear, I think you need to vote red. I think you need to vote for this country. I think you need to vote for a semblance of sanity in this country again. And from my perspective, I'm pledging to be for all of America, all my D friends, all our friends. I mean, you know, I talked about this with people in my speaking realm, and you know, overwhelmingly they said, Todd, don't go public with your political talk. And I thought to myself, well, I went public with my religious belief. Well, and most people realize that Christ followers have a common sense built towards the Ten Commandments, the Bible, and Bible principles, which are clearly stated that we must follow as Christians. And most people realize that follows a more disciplined party. I'm not saying all Republicans are Christian. I'm not saying all are Democrats. So why is it okay to pick God, but I can't pick the Republican lane? I'm pushing back on that narrative right now, because if you're not willing to pick a lane, then you're not willing to come out and really fight for something. You really can't get real unless people know really who you are. And I've pledged to be who I am. Everyone has pretty much been following me, realizes that I'm not pulling any punches. I'm not perfect. I haven't done everything right. I've wrote 2 books about my marriage, my family, my processes, my push. And I've wrote 2 books and a 3rd book on how to become wired differently and how to become successful. I've been completely transparent in my life and struggles with my family and my marriage and my teachings and my businesses. I've been completely transparent about what's went on in my life that I've failed, and I've been completely transparent about the difficulties in life and how it is to grow as an entrepreneur, raise families, and do the things we do. I've been completely transparent about how much I care about you and how much I want to help you grow and get through these same things that I've done for 58 years. I've been completely transparent. How can you not like me for being transparent? We're called to be transparent. We're called to be in the image of God. There is nothing in the Bible that hid anything about our God. So that's where I'm at. Let's get real, America. This is Tuesday. This is the day to vote. This is the day to set the course, a new course for America. We've had 2 years of hard, difficult times watching this entire country unravel in a mess. Let's get real. Not one policy has made sense. Not one policy has made anything better in this country. There's a better way to do it. And we need to start by getting real. There's a better cocktail out there, my friends. And I would challenge you to equip yourself first. I would challenge you to equip your friends. I would challenge you to equip your company, right? And I want America better equipped to do life for all of us. So anyways, what a great morning we had. I want you to be completely transparent in your life and your beliefs and not be ashamed. I want you to aspire to be a successionaire in these areas. Thanks for listening this morning. Get out there and vote. It's your right, your vote, America. Let's get real, America. Let's get real, America. Let's get real, America.